Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Maggie, the substitute teacher, and here I teach you how I lost 60 pounds with 40 more to go by substituting the foods that I love with the foods that love me back. So if you're enjoying this content, please give me a like, and let's go ahead and get started. So I made a cabbage roll soup, and I want to walk you guys through the ingredients. This was another crock pot recipe that you can cook and serve to the whole family, or you can portion it out like I did and eat on it for days. All right, so what we've got here is salt and pepper. We've got an onion to dice, some parsley. The recipe calls for 2 pounds of ground beef. Probably should have thought it out before, but I did thaw it in the microwave. You could easily half this recipe because it was a lot. We've got a head of cabbage here, and we've got some pasta sauce here with no sugar added. I like the ragu simply because of that reason. One of the things that I learned from my metabolic specialist is that there's a lot of sugar and ingredients that aren't even supposed to be sweet. So wherever I can, I avoid sugar, and I started switching out my condiments. That was a huge win for me. We've got some oregano here, some minced garlic, some MCT oil, which is the oil that I use. It's a derivative of coconut oil, but it is not inflammatory, which was important to me because I used to have a lot of joint pain before I lost the weight. We've got some bone broth here, concentrate that I use to in the recipe, and some riced cauliflower. It says cilantro lime, but I didn't taste the lime. I just used it because it's what I had. All right, so we start off by dicing and sauteing our onions really simply, some oil in the pan, chop them up, and then you just want to cook them and turn them until they're soft and starting to get translucent. Then we're going to add our ground beef into the onions. Now that I've made this soup, I probably would have seasoned here. This recipe is from Sugarfree Mom, and it's got you seasoning towards the end. I like my meat to have flavor, and so I probably would season at this point next time. But I always make a recipe the way it's written out the first time, and then when I make it again, I do my own little twist to it. All right, so we're cooking our ground beef here, and as you can see, we want to make sure we get all of the pink out, so that's done. So now we add in our pasta sauce and seasonings, I believe. So we've got our ragu inside. And then once we got it all cooked and simmering, now we're going to add in the cauliflower rice. Again, this was just a rip top bag from the freezer. I love cauliflower as a substitute for so many things. But if you think of, like a fried rice or any other Asian cuisine, the cauliflower rice is a great substitute because I avoid sugars and starches. All right, so then basically once it's all simmered in the pan, you're going to dump it all into the crock pot. I like to use these Reynolds Crock Pot Liners. This just makes the cleanup a little bit easier. My crock pot is large, so I didn't get it all the way across, but it's basically, think of it like a trash can liner, but it just makes it easy to maneuver. And then when I needed to pour the soup out, I could grab it carefully and pour it out. So we've got our ground beef at the bottom, we've got our cabbage diced and on top, and literally I just put it in there, folded the Reynolds slow cooker liner over top and put the lid on. It was kind of stuffing out, but it did cook down. Okay, so I turned the slow cooker on. I think I used either 4 or 6, but whatever the high setting was, because if you think of it, everything's pretty much already cooked. Your ground beef is done. You just want those flavors to simmer together so nicely, and then you want that cabbage to soften. So when it was done, took the lid off and opened up the liner, and you can see here we've got that nice soft cabbage, and then the soup broth down in here, and we got our ground beef. So I got a big ladle and I stirred it all around. So this is me just making sure it's all good. You see, you've got your onion, you've got your cauliflower rice, you got your ground beef. This is really hearty and really filling. Okay, so that's basically it. I just scooped some out into a bowl, got some nice broth. It's wintertime here, so it's nice to have something warm and cozy. You've got the cabbage for your fiber, you've got the ground beef for your protein, and you've got your rice and onion. I did add a little bit of my flake sea salt because I needed a little bit more seasoning to it. So I just have this souvenir from a wonderful trip to Hawaii, the Kona sea salt, but any flaky sea sea salt or Himalayan sea salt will do. So I put a little bit on here, and I enjoyed. Now, what I ended up doing, because I cooked a whole crock pot full of this cauliflower egg roll, what didn't have egg in it, cauliflower roll soup. I ended up, once it cooled, I got the, what are they, prep containers or to-go containers? You guys know what I'm talking about. And I just portioned them out. I've eaten this soup. My son has eaten this soup. We're just enjoying it for days. And just like anything else that's a soup or a stew, on the second day or the third day, the flavors have really marinated and it was so yummy. So you can see here, I just sprinkled some oregano on top for a little pop of green, and that was it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was the cauliflower roll soup. Definitely would make it again. I would probably half the portions because it's a lot. And I would season a little bit more heavily when I'm in the meat cooking stage. But that's it. So if you enjoyed the video, give me a like, and I'll see you guys back on the next video. Bye for now.